This video is for the long-term care provider, nurse, and unit coordinator workflow for death and discharge of a resident from a Cerner site. I am now logged in as a residential care physician or long-term care physician. I have been informed by the nurse that the resident's condition has been declining. I am now going to place RC Residential Care Comfort and End-of-Life Care Power Plan after I had a discussion with the family that is the route they would like to take. I will locate my patient now. As a provider, I land on the Message Center page. In the search bar, I will look for the resident and select the correct encounter, Holy Family Hospital Residential for Sally Aardvark, and select OK. I now open up to Sally Aardvark's power chart. In the provider view, I am able to see my table of contents. I navigate to the Orders Profile tab and select Add. I now locate the power plan for residential care, comfort, and end-of-life care and select Done. I am now in the RC Residential Care, Comfort, End-of-Life Care Power Plan. I will select the code status, and change as applicable, and ensure that all the other order profile pieces are correct. I can select and deselect as required. I can now initiate, review one more time, select Orders for Signature for one final time review, and sign the orders. If I refresh my page, the orders have now been placed as they are selected with these black check marks. Because this resident is allergic to morphine, I'm going to add an additional order for pain management. And refresh my page. Logging into PowerChart as the nurse, the landing page is Care Compass. I will establish my relationship as a nurse, select Establish. Once I have done so, the gray box that was Sally Aardvark is now orange, as there are new orders that have been placed on her. I can view new orders and results by selecting the orange exclamation mark. As the provider had just ordered the power plan, all of the new orders will land here for review. I can scroll through to review all of the orders that have been placed, and using my assignment sheet or RN reminder sheet can add any pieces that may require additional follow-up. I can mark all of these orders as reviewed. Once marked as reviewed, you will see that there is no orange box or orange exclamation mark anymore around Sally Aardvark's name. To navigate into Sally's chart as the nurse, I can select Sally's name. It will bring me to the power chart. As a second check, I can go to the orders profile and review all of the orders that have just been placed. I can note down here that the provider has allowed nurse to pronounce death and notify the treating provider at the time of resident's death during regular hours. As required, I can now do the ongoing care and orders management workflow for the nurse. I can also additionally do any serious illness conversation and goals of care documentation on paper, while noting that the code status has been updated here in PowerChart. The resident's condition has declined rapidly. They are no longer eating or drinking, and they are nearing end of life. The resident passes away peacefully. While the nurse is able to pronounce death, as noted here, we were lucky to have the physician on the floor at the time of the resident's death. I will now log in as the physician. And locate the resident's chart as the physician. On the Orders tab, I can select Add. I will search for the patient deceased, patient expired. Order. I can state the date and time that the resident passed away. And any special instructions as required. If it was not myself that pronounced, I can also additionally search another physician's name, but because it was myself, I will leave my name in there and sign. I can now go to the Provider View tab, and on my M page tabs, locate the Transfer and Discharge tab. As required, I can document my discharge summary, and any additional pieces of information as required. I can sign and submit. If I would like to print this document, I can sign and print, but at this time I'd just like to sign. Back to the Transfer and Discharge M-Page tab. I can follow up with any discharge disposition that are required. And if needed, I can locate the expiration record power form, select any of the following that are applicable, and continue to fill out the applicable fields. I can now sign the power form. As the provider, I may need to complete the death certificate on paper as per current practice and fax to the long-term care unit if I am remote. If I am on the long-term care unit, I can give to the unit clerk. Now, logging in as the nurse, I am back into PowerChart and my landing page is Care Compass. If I refresh my page, you will note that Sally Aardvark has an orange exclamation mark, which is required to view new results and orders. I will select the orange exclamation mark. I notice that the resident's provider has placed an order for patient deceased, patient expired. I can mark this as reviewed. I can update all applicable documents according to the site practice, including those on paper, in Momentum, or in Paris. I will prepare the body for transport to appropriate location and complete any other related documentation. I will fax the completed death certificate to the funeral home or applicable location as required. The unit clerk can also do this piece of work. Logged in as the unit clerk, I land on the multi-patient task list. For patient deceased, patient expired, I can highlight the pending task. On the toolbar, go to PM Conversation and click on the drop-down menu and select Discharge Encounter. I can locate the patient's last name and first name. Find the correct encounter, select OK. I will now fill out the applicable fields that are in yellow. We will be sending this resident to a funeral home as predetermined by the family. I will fill in the deceased details, including the date and the time that the resident was deceased. This information is for the discharge. I will now select Complete. A pop-up window will come up for Discharge Encounter. It states you are setting the deceased date for this person, which could affect future visits and appointments. Would you like to continue? By selecting Yes, I am discharging this resident as deceased. I will select Yes. If I need to open the chart for any reason, I can select Yes. And that concludes the long-term care death and discharge at a Cerner site.